Alrighty. Well, good evening, good morning, good afternoon. This is Luke Willett, aka Rick Wilson, aka Rick Wilson Soundworks, as my new side hustle. Bringing you today a car that I've been working on for more than a year now. This is a 2022 VW Volkswagen Golf R. Client here in Maine referred to me through Nick at Resonix Sound Solutions. Started as a, hey, can you take a look at this? There's something going on with integration, which ended up being just a poor product that was used to initially have to integrate with this vehicle. It has a Harman Kardon 9-speaker system, 2-way front and 2-way rear, and a sub, and has a amplifier for high level, even though we actually do not use that anymore as our primary signal. But anyways, that story evolved into, this is the fourth phase, I guess I will call it fifth phase at this point, of what this car has become. And it truly is a, without the cutting of the car, I would call it as far as you can really go with SQ in this platform. Maybe some custom pillars, but we just actually upgraded those with a little addition today. But I want to bring you guys through the car. Matt, my client, has had this car for about a year and a half. It's not stock. He has a stage 2 kit in here. He's making about 400 to his wheels, so it's a really fun car to drive. So we'll start under the hood. Can give you guys a little intro here. I did not do the original wiring of this car. Let's see if I can get this open. There we go. As you can see, it's a very beautiful engine bay, much nicer than my truck, that's for sure. But again, APR stage 2. The original shop, in terms of speaker wiring, power wiring is fine. Did adequate job. They're running a 0 gauge. Properly fused, runs through the firewall, and then grounded out back in the trunk bay. But nothing wrong with that. It started out as a very small system. I'm actually really happy that we had 0 gauge, and that evolved as we built the system. Never had to worry about electrical. Now we have, you'll see in a second here, 3 amps back there. We have 4 subs in here. 3-way front stage and prepped for rears, even though they actually are not operational right now. But yeah, that's what we got going on underneath the hood. Eventually we'll hook up a plug and play power supply. We're just waiting for a couple of parts to finish that out. So I'll move from back to front. In terms of sound treatment, again, this was done by the shop previous to me. They use Stinger Roadkill in front doors, rear trunk bay, not a ton. There's really not a lot in the car, but thankfully the car is a VW Audi. Natively is in great shape from a sound treatment standpoint. It's tight, doesn't have a lot of rattles to begin with, but I took apart the front doors. I'll include a few photos here when I swapped out the front doors to some BLAM Multix WS6s while I was there. Ended up adding some Resonix CLD to the inner door card, and then building baffles so we could get a nice, better mounting for the door-mounted mid-bass. But that's about it for sound treatment. One day, maybe, I don't know, we'll take apart the whole car, but I doubt it. So I'm not going to show you the sub box quite yet because I have it out. But we'll start in the trunk. Again, kind of give you a little, it's a great looking car, very compact, very fun to drive, and fun to build in. Great from a platform standpoint in terms of a acoustic response, native response. It does really well. With, I think, actually mid-bass enclosures like Peter just did in a Mark 7, this is a Mark 8, but a Mark 7 GTI, and saw some great results. That would really be the last frontier. Besides that, putting subs back here that fire towards the rear deck, you get basically unlimited response up to 100 hertz down to 10 from your rear subs. And yeah, honestly, it works very well. It's friendly for the most part to build in. You got great trunk space. So now that we're back here, the sub box is out, which is right here. I'll show you in a second. But I want to show you that we've built this so he can actually use the car, even though the sub box weighs a ton because it's got 212s and it's a giant MDF box, probably weighs, I don't know, 110, 115 pounds. But if he wants to use the vehicle, he can still fold the seats down and still have full use of the trunk if he ever needs it. What you're seeing here is he has a covered carpet. And I'll show you guys how these anchors work, but they're basically climbing cam straps that help secure the back of the box. Those are secured to the false floor with a couple of brackets. They're actually meant for Jeep door hinges that have the fabric straps that attach both from the door itself or back to the frame. So they're really heavy duty. And then you're seeing the XT90 that allows the sub box to come in and out real easy. So let's see if I can do this smoothly. Underneath the false floor here, we have there we go. All right. So what you guys are seeing here, and I'll include a couple photos that have the whole footprint, but is a Helix V8 MK2 and 2 Helix M One X's. So the V8 is running the three-way front stage and then the capacity to have the rears, which we will eventually be adding to these C-pillars back here. Once we get a little more time, we've been kind of working on this car nonstop for the past few months, and we both need a little break. But so V8, I'll show you guys signal, runs a digital signal in, also has high level. And then the first M1X that we installed, it's probably about 2 months after I installed the V8. He moved away from a prefab JL box to a single GB12 Audiofrog, which we were running off the M1X at 2 ohms, and then we added a second GB12. So now we run 1 ohm to 2 GB12s, making 1100 watts or so. Then our most recent project that was this past long weekend and week was adding front sub. So we added another Helix M1X that runs 2 Focal 5km subs, and those run at 2 ohm. And so now it's a modular setup. There's usually a factory sub here, but since we've kind of taken the outskirts where he used to have his roadside equipment, we've opted to take that out. He can keep his roadside safety equipment. He has AAA. I actually don't know if there's a spare tire below this, but he technically could get to it, not very easily, but he's always opted to go with AAA if he gets in trouble anyways. But anyways, it's a very simple amp rack. Way tucked in here, you have Stinger distros, properly fused. Again, 0 gauge to both sides. It is not to be a showy amp rack. It is functional. It's safe. All the amps are mounted to 1/2-inch PVC that are riv nutted to the frame. Everything is secured, zip tied, and safe. And that's the primary function of what this amp rack is we didn't want to do any sort of integrated amp rack that shows off anything to the public. He doesn't want that. We may do it eventually, but at this point in the stage, it's meant to be functional and kind of tuck and hide away underneath the false floor. So I will cut for a second. I'm going to put this back together, get the false floor down, and I will get the sub box in, and then we'll keep moving on. All right, and we're back. So trunk is back together. Rear sub, what this is actually a prefab box. I think it's a ground shaker. It's actually pretty well made. 3/4 inch MDF. It does have actually some little recess features on the side if you wanted it to be a little more showy. But basic box, decent build quality for the money especially. It is definitely very solid. I'll add a couple of pictures, but the inside is treated with Resonix Sound Solutions CLD, as well as the FiberMat 45 product, which is something that I've been experimenting. I've done polyfill. The Fibermat 45 works extremely well in helping your box essentially act bigger than it is. So you get a little bit more low-end extension. So I think on DATs, these are 1.1 CF isolated enclosures for each. With DATs, it actually pushes them to like 1.3, 1.35, something like that, which is a little looser than I usually like to run GB12s. I usually like a QTC of like 0.8. But with these acting as 50 hertz and down, I don't need them to be incredibly tight. I like the low-end extension. This car, based on how it loads, literally gets down to 12, 13 hertz and plays that. It's not incredible, but like from 17 hertz up, it is potent. So what I did is we dressed this up. So what I did is added just a real basic beauty panel. Just it's a 3/4 inch ply with a little recess, and then my logo, as well as a small water jetted piece of aluminum. You'll see blue is kind of the common theme in this car, so we wanted to do something to accent it. It's anodized, so I didn't want to paint it, but it's an okay match. It's something to dress it up and provide a little branding without being too loud. But again, this thing, it weighs a ton. It's super rigid. We added some protection grills, so we can still store stuff here in the trunk. But yeah, it works. And for a prefab that kind of gets dressed up, we're really happy with it. So moving to the side to show you guys how the sub box actually works. If we take these seats and we pop them down real quick, you're going to see that we have these locking cams, which again, there's a bracket right here, the same bracket that you're seeing mounted to the sub box there. Uses a locking cam strap. What this is designed to do is to be a toolless removal. So you can quite literally just come here, pull up on this tab, and it's going to loosen the slack. It's just designed to keep the sub from moving anywhere. Under load, under acceleration, it really doesn't move anyways, but just in case of a crash or any hard acceleration, we don't want the thing moving around at all. Again, and then we have an XT90, so that allows quick removal. Even though there's terminals, they're junk on this box, so I opted for XT90. Much, I don't know, it's more reliable from a quick disconnect standpoint. And so you can't quite see in here, but there is a second, let's see if I can pop this down. There is a second strap on the other side. Again, they're attached to the false floor. They're through bolted, so it's nice and rigid. So, alrighty. Now that's back together. And then our most recent project, which is going to look like nothing right now, is a front sub. Let me grab a light here. So, when you're in the car or approaching it, it's you can't really tell anything's there, which is the whole point. His wife rides in the car with him very often, so we opted to build this kind of as small as we possibly could, and then still retain the ability to put floor mats, protective grille, kind of the MO for most front subs. And I can sit in here at 6'2", with the seat mostly back and actually be very comfortable with my feet. And we built the box at a slight angle, so it ends up being pretty comfortable in terms of just ergonomics. Certainly more comfortable than my own truck, but yeah. So let me see if I can take this apart real quick for you guys. Alrighty, so I just popped the floor mat out. I'll pop a light on here in a second, but I just wanted to show you guys that this is just a little Velcro, completely blind panel. Pop that out, and then you have these new beauties that we put in, which are the Focal 5K-M. Mainly chose these because, one, nobody's really used them, and two, we were pretty limited on depth. The shape of the carpet, because, let me turn this light on here. The depth of the OEM carpet, which we wanted to retain, because the client didn't want to chop that up. So with a VW, we would have gained a ton of options had we actually been able to cut the OEM foam and the OEM carpet. because there's almost 3 inches of depth beyond what you're seeing here. And we could have gone to a 10 or an 8, but the shape is very shallow on the low end. So the ability to fit even a full-size 8 that's any deeper than 3 inches is frankly impossible without really encroaching. This enclosure would end up probably 2 inches deeper than what is here. And then it's just uncomfortable to be in the passenger seat, which is going against the grain of everything that we wanted to do. So we opted to use these. They're running 50 to 100 hertz. Awesome as a front sub application. They do everything. They fall off like a cliff at 40 hertz, but who cares? That's not what they're trying to do. But they really have impressed me. I've put them through their paces. I've had the car by myself for a couple of days. Just finished cleaning up a tune on it, and genuinely very impressed. People were very skeptical. Yeah, it's only a 5mm X-Max, so people are very apprehensive to think that they can perform. But with 2 of these and some good clean power and integrating them correctly and using them in the right application, they've kicked ass. I would not hesitate to recommend these to other folks who are trying to capture a small sub. They're expensive, but for this application, they really worked out. Over to the doors, I'll snap a picture here. BLAM WS6, 2-ohm mid-bass, probably the best 6.5 2-ohm mid-bass for sure. I think the only other 6.5 I like more is the Accuton. And the Thesis Sax is also excellent. But again, those are definitely a different power demand and different application, but these WS6s are awesome. They're great pairing with the V8 and giving them probably peak up to 140 watts, but generally about 120, which keeps up with the rest of the system just fine. So that is mid-bass front sub. So I'm going to move over to the driver's seat. Actually, well, let's go in the passenger seat here. So what we actually just installed today, shout out to Lino Morales, who runs LM Designs, just fabricated these, essentially I'll call them bolt-on pods, but really custom. Did an awesome job. His level of design and execution with 3D printing is among the best. He's down in Texas, blasted these out. I don't know, we started a conversation late last week, and within 5 days I had these in my hand, and they really, honestly, he 3D scanned, and you can see some of these tolerances of how well he contoured these, and included some really nice details. So this, you can see the R, which matches obviously the Golf R, but the recess in the grill is also a homage to some of the design that is in the car. The R itself, they are just a Neomag removable grill that sets right there. But again, really, really nice work with this. I was really impressed when I finally got to get my hands on these. So for front stage, originally we had Valacar pods for better aiming. This is obviously not completely ideal when it comes to in terms of aiming, but the advantages that were gained with rigid mounting and being able to vent the mid-range, which I'll go over in a second, into the dash has provided a ton of benefits, and well worth the exchange. Obviously, we wanted to go to full custom pillars, which are an absolute pain in anything above a Mark 7, especially the Mark 8. Taking these pillars out, in and out, is a pain. Anyone who has worked on one will know. And fitting large pillars or fitting large mid-ranges is even more difficult, and being able to maneuver the pillar in and out. So we opted to go with this. He was a very fair price for what we did, and I think this will be the final solution for this car. So what you're seeing in the pillar, Brax ML1 tweeter and Brax GL2 mid-range. They're both 60 millimeter, so it allows us to get the benefit of a three-way without having a kind of giant mid-range. And I'm still developing my skills in terms of custom pillars. Absolutely getting a large format 3-inch mid-range would have advantages up here. But given what we are working with, this does a really nice job. We're crossing, I was previously crossing them at 450. We got them down to 350, and I'm comfortable. I really tried to make them hurt today after the tune, and they've held up great. The ML1 definitely has a great track record. Excellent tweeter, never bites, plenty of detail. And the GL2, so I think we're crossing at 3K right now. We just noticed that, or at least I noticed from an RTAA standpoint, that 3K was kind of the sweet spot where there's tons of energy in the ML1, but the GL2, even though it is a wideband, it actually does play up to, in this configuration and location, like 16K, but you start to see the energy kind of fall off at 3,500, 3K in that region. So I went with 3K, and it works great. Tons of detail having tweeter kind of that low, but ML1 doesn't care. ML1 probably cross it at 2200 at 24 LR4 and would be just as happy. So anyways, we have again, this snaps back into place, and I don't know, it really kind of fits the car extremely well. Matt, the client, hasn't even seen these yet, but I know he will be pumped. Again, Lino did a great job with these. We got the same over on the driver's side, and just as beautiful, works just as well. Yeah, our aiming is yeah, we got a gauge cluster here, but it is definitely usable. I was really surprised how well it's staged and imaged. Everything sums actually really well. The only summing issues I had in mid-range was down in like the 300s, which it's just nature of the car location. I'm not going to fight it or I'll pass it. It just, besides that, this car really sums excellent across the board. So I'm excited to have Matt pick up this car in the next couple of days and have a first listen, and maybe I'll record some first impressions there. But yeah, the only thing that I did not go over, you got conductor location here and the cup holder. So that allows convenient if you're sitting in the driver's seat here. It's really convenient to, even though I'm in the passenger seat here, it's the same type of operation. It's right at your fingertips. He uses under the seat, there is a SMSL PO100. He has an iPhone that sits right here, an iPhone 15, and runs USB-C, which is right here. We'll plug right into that, and then that plugs right into the SMSL PO100 Pro, and that feeds right back to the V8 via optical. Huge improvement over high level. This car has okay high level, but I'll never be a fan of it when digital is an option. But yeah, well, that's about it. If you guys have any questions, comments, anything that you liked about it, let me know. Anything that you feel that could be improved on, let me know. Anything that that you have any questions about, let me know. Again, yeah, the front sub was quite an adventure, but that really was the last frontier to take this car to the next level, and I really feel it's there. So it's going to enter its first comp here at Hudson Valley Regionals, hopefully on June 1st, 2024, and it will be in Sanford, Maine on the 15th of June at the Sanford Showdown, SQ Showdown, and hoping that he kicks some ass for his first shows. It's sounding great. Thank you guys. Always appreciate any likes, comments, feedback, and there'll be another build at some point, but probably not for a little bit, where I'm taking my break for the summer and I'll be competing with my own truck. But yeah, always like to share. Thanks, guys.